Asking questions is important. It is critical. Our lives depend on asking questions. Questions help us uncover challenges we are facing and generate solutions to solve problems. We're all spending way too much energy and time solving the first iteration of a challenge with the first idea that we have. And that's both limiting and counterproductive. We learn by asking questions and by listening. The more we listen, the better our questions become. And the more we learn, questions help us clarify our own thinking on projects, on workflow, and strategies. Asking questions effectively is a major component of any leader. And asking good questions often distinguishes outstanding leaders from average ones, or even worse, from poor ones. If your goal is to increase capacity and potential in those you lead, a good question can create an aha moment, which can lead to innovation and growth. It keeps you in learning mode rather than judgment mode. If you're asking a question, you're not rushing in to provide the answer, to give the solution, or take on the challenge. This is a self-management tool to keep you focused on the bigger picture, and that is your responsibility to yourself, to your groups, and to the world. Be curious by slowing down, by reducing the noise. Explore. And do not rush. Be open-ended and explore the what and how and the why. Keep the conversation open and flowing. Be engaging by caring, by wanting to learn, to understand. Stay interested. Be courageous and dig deeper in the spirit of honest information gathering and collaboration. And always remember, focus is on learning, not on judging. You see, we learn about life through asking questions, and the more we question, the better answers we get. The quality of our lives depends on the questions we asked. You do realize it truly is never about the answer, as the answer would never come without the right question. Questioning makes you open, and it makes you wiser. Actually, asking the right question creates happiness. How often do you ask yourself questions like, am I learning from my mistakes? Am I consistently pushing my own boundaries? What is my game plan? Do I still believe I can actually do this? Children learn by asking questions. Students learn by asking questions. New recruits learn by asking questions. Innovators understand clients' needs by asking questions. It is the simplest and the most effective way of learning. People who think they know it all no longer ask questions. Why should they? Brilliant thinkers never stop asking questions because they know that this is the best way to gain deeper insight. Intelligent questions stimulate, provoke, inform, and they inspire. So, how come we do not ask questions? Why don't we ask more questions? If it is obvious that asking questions is such a powerful way of learning, why do we stop asking questions? And for some people, the reason is that they're simply lazy. They assume they know all the main things they need to know, and they do not bother to ask for more. They cling to their beliefs and remain certain in their assumption, yet they often end up looking foolish. Other people are afraid that by asking questions they will look weak, ignorant, or unsure. They like to give the impression that they are decisive and in command of the relevant issues. They fear that asking questions might introduce uncertainty or show them in poor light. In fact, asking questions is a sign of strength and intelligence, not a sign of weakness or uncertainty. Great leaders constantly ask questions and are well aware that they do not have all the answers. Some people are in such hurry to get with things that they do not stop to ask questions because it might slow them down. They risk rushing head on into the wrong actions. What we need to address is our own fear of looking stupid, fear of making the other person uncomfortable. Why do we still believe asking questions complicates relationships? Where does that belief come from? Asking questions creates work, some will say. Really? Rather not ask any? Better not to ask questions, because it's a signal you really care, and now you're invested, which means time. Also, it might steer the pot. Better not cause any trouble. Most important reason why people are afraid to ask questions, and even more importantly, why they are afraid to answer, is they do not want to face the truth, and they do not want to change. Without a doubt, asking questions can be intimidating to the person on the other end of it, and thus put the person on the spot if it isn't handled with care. The concept of risk aversion or loss aversion is fundamental to understand here as well. Question reluctance is a discomfort, fear, and or avoidance of asking and answering questions. And some people actually get physically anxious or tense with symptoms like clammy palms or rapid heartbeat, sweating. People sense anxiety and they react to it, consciously or unconsciously. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable to interact with someone who is anxious. So you may not even want to speak with that person. This is but one reason why question reluctance is a significant factor in sabotaging communication and with it, sabotaging success. It is also why developing ease and eagerness with questions can make such a difference to your life. Sometimes people are not ready to answer the question at the time. Perhaps they have other things in their mind. They may also refuse to answer because of contextual factors, such as other people being there, and the social embarrassment or status issues that could be caused by answering the question. Perhaps the easiest way to avoid the question is to be quiet and look back at the questionnaire, or maybe elsewhere. This is not always easy in practice, but when you become comfortable with it, then it is only the other person who feels discomfort. A question we must ask ourselves is, am I really doing the right thing in avoiding my discomfort by simply shifting it to another person? And we both know the answer to that one. So learn to say no and stop ignoring and stop shifting your discomfort onto others. A straightforward refusal is simply to say, I'm not going to answer the question. Can we all simply learn about our fears? Learn how to deal with our discomfort instead of prolonging it and never truly dealing with it? Can we stop with ignoring the questions or turning the tables and answering a completely different question? At which point do we answer the most important question of our lives? Why do I lie? And why can't I simply tell the truth and live that truth? It is unfortunately common that many important questions and challenges go unanswered, and there are many reasons people do this. And most common one is the desire to avoid admitting that they might be wrong. They might not have a good answer. And while I don't know is certainly acceptable, it may represent an unacceptable admission of at least potential error on their part. Another reason is that answering the question might lead to realization that their position is invalid, while the position plays an important role in their self-image. For example, someone's ego might be dependent on the premise that some other group is inferior to them, and in such situation, the person might be strongly inclined not to directly answer questions about the justification of that alleged inferiority. Otherwise, they might have to acknowledge that they are not superior at all. With prospects, with clients, in school, at home, in business, with our friends, with our family, colleagues, managers, we can check assumptions and gain a better appreciation of the issues by first asking questions. Asking questions, even though it is a very effective tool, it can make you appear inquisitorial and intrusive. So it is important to ask questions in a friendly manner, in an unthreatening way. Do not ask accusatory questions, and ensure that your body language is relaxed and amicable. Do not jab your finger or lean forward as you put your requests. So ask away with care. Ask to understand and to learn. I suggest you start with these, and from there, well, you are the only person that can set your own limits. Would the 8-year-old you be happy with the person you are today? Who have you given up on? When was the last time you told your loved ones exactly how much they meant to you? When was the last time you saw something you didn't agree with and didn't speak up? When was the last time you let imagination have full reign? What was the last excuse you made that stopped you from traveling? What is the one skill you wish you'd learned but never got along to? What is the difference between living and existing? What is your biggest regret in life so far? What fear is holding you back? What did you learn from your last mistake? How would your life inspire others? Are you still holding on? Isn't it time to let go?